Welcome, Ms Legalista, aka Attorney Sheila, here to bring you an update regarding that shooting that happened at an elementary school in Newport News, Virginia, that involved a 6-year-old shooting his teacher. I have a new update regarding possible charges. This announcement comes from the prosecuting attorney. We've got an update here. And also, let's go back and take a look at this impending lawsuit that the teacher may be filing. Yeah. Let's head now over to this article on Medium about this, and let's jump right into it. First, let me say on behalf of myself and my entire staff that we pray for a full and speedy recovery for Ms. Zwerner. In January of this year, the unimaginable happened in our city. A six-year-old brought a gun to school and shot his teacher. Almost immediately, the Newport News Police Department began the thorough and painstaking work of investigating the shooting. Several weeks ago, the results of that investigation were turned over to my office to include 3 binders and hours of police body camera footage. In spite of the national attention that this incomprehensible act has brought to our city, our objective is the same as it has always been: to be thorough, to be objective, and to apply the law to the facts fairly and impartially. And after that analysis is done, our objective is to charge any person with any crimes that we believe we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Let me stop there. There's one last paragraph here, but let me just stop there and just sort of point this part out, because this is the piece that says more than anything else. This piece that lays out that anybody can be charged. So a lot of times we think about the person pulling the trigger being the person who is going to be charged in this. But now the police department is saying, we are going to apply the law, and after that analysis, we are going to charge any person with any crimes that we believe we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. That should make some people possibly a little concerned who may have been responsible for keeping the gun safe and secured. It goes on to say, this office has had a longstanding policy of not discussing publicly pending cases or investigations. Pursuant to that policy, this office will have no further comment until its work is done. Now, that is the police department, okay? That's the Newport News Police Department that is making this statement. I want to now turn to something different, because it looks like the city prosecutor has made an entirely different statement about this. Let's head over to this article now to see what's coming from this report from ABC News. This is a little different, like I said, from what the police department just put out. This is the city prosecutor said Wednesday that he would not seek charges against the 6-year-old boy who shot his elementary school teacher in January, but has yet to decide whether any adults associated with the case could be held criminally liable. And so you're talking about what kind of charges that could be filed against the parties who owned the gun, the parties who were responsible for keeping that gun safe and secure in one place, and maybe the bullets in another place. I don't know. I understand the parents, one that I heard from, that they had been working with the child, and that particular day they had not gone to school with the boy. And so they had certainly shared that they are sorry that that happened. The attorney, Howard Gwynn, and this is Newport News's attorney, the Commonwealth's attorney, Howard Gwynn, has said that the prospect that a 6-year-old can stand trial is problematic. Yes, it is. Given that a child that young wouldn't have the competency to understand the legal system and what a charge means, or adequately assist an attorney. Even if you did say, well, doesn't a child know right from wrong? Might there be some sort of programs that they can work with the child? There probably are some programs. The Parents, I understand, have indicated that the child has been in a program and that they had been attending class with him, and that particular day there had been a change in those circumstances and that they were not there. But the other piece of this is a 6-year-old child cannot adequately assist an attorney in his or her own defense. It's going to be very hard to do that and to have a child just to understand what is going on. So this is an update with this. The attorney goes on to say that he does not believe there is a legal basis to charge a child, and that his office, after receiving the case in February from Newport News Police, is focusing on others. So it does sound like he is possibly looking at the parties who owned the gun, who had control of it, and who were responsible for making sure that the 6-year-old was not able to get the gun and then take it to school. So yes, I think the last thing that they say here is our objective is not just to do something as quickly as possible. Once we analyze all the facts, we will charge any person or persons that we believe we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt committed a crime. I want to go to the teacher now, because the teacher was seriously injured, and this teacher is now bringing a civil lawsuit, or maybe bringing a civil lawsuit. A letter has come from this teacher's attorney. Let me see if I can pull that up. I covered this in another video where we just broke down this letter from beginning to end, because the main assertion from this teacher is that the administration, the school administration, was told that there was a problem and nothing was done. Was told on multiple occasions here. Let's see if I can bring this up. This is the letter from Toscano Law Group, who's representing the teacher who was shot. The letter says, "Dear Ms. Searles Law," Ms. Searles Law is chair of the Newport News School Board, and this is who the letter was sent to. "This letter serves as notice that I represent Abby Zwerner, intend to file suit against Richneck Elementary School administrators in connection with the shooting of Ms. Zwerner on January 6, 2023 at Richneck Elementary School." It says, "On that day, over the course of a few hours, 3 different times, Assistant Principal Parker was warned by concerned teachers or employees that the shooter had a gun on him at the school. This tragedy was entirely preventable if Assistant Principal Parker had done her job and acted when she had knowledge of imminent danger. But instead, the failure to act by school administrator led to Ms. Zwerner being shot. The assistant principal did not call the police, did not put the school on lockdown, and did not evacuate the school." So there are some serious allegations here in this letter. And the letter goes through with a timeline that breaks down the conversations that were taking place. The conversation about the 6-year-old being a little off that day, something not right about what was going on, about being in a violent mood, had threatened to beat up a kindergarten, stared down the security officer. Again, we've got timelines here, other teachers who were involved. And we're trying to share this information with the principal, with this assistant principal Parker. And like I said, I did all of this in another video, so I'm not going to break it all down like here. I just want to touch on a few things. So this is not coming out of the blue. This is not a situation where the child brought a gun to school and nobody noticed anything, and then all of a sudden the teacher got shot. That is not what happened here. You've got a whole play-by-play in this letter of how this could have been avoided. And think about it for a second, because it says, "What is even more astonishing is that the shooter had a history at Richneck Elementary School that Assistant Principal Parker was aware of. The shooter had been removed from the school a year prior after he choked his teacher until she couldn't breathe." And so there were all of these things that were told to this teacher on this day leading up to this. Like I said, feel free to check out my other video on this. But there's all this information here about prior knowledge that's being given to the assistant principal. No lockdown, no evacuation of the school being done. And so the letter goes on to say the administration at Richneck Elementary School showed gross negligence and willful and wanton negligence in Assistant Principal Parker's failure to report this known threat. The school administration knew as early as 12:30 p.m. that the shooter was suspected to have a gun. And yet the allegations in this letter are that nothing was done. And so now there's this possibility of this lawsuit. And like I said, it's not this sort of situation where I got hurt on the property. Yes, I was shot, and now I'm going to sue you because I'm going to say you didn't provide proper security, or you didn't follow some of the policies. No, this is a little bit more than that. When the assistant principal was actually told that people were thinking, hey, someone saw a gun, someone understands that there may be a gun in a backpack, and there's no call to the police, no lockdown, no following of normal school policies. So yes, so that is where this stands. At this point, we know a couple of things. And one is that the teacher has this lawsuit out here. The 6-year-old is not going to be charged, but the police department is looking at other possible people who may be responsible for something involving the shooting. So I hope this brings you up to speed now a little bit more with what's going on in this case. Like I said, there is the other video where you can go through the whole timeline of everything that the teacher was saying happened that day. And we're wishing for her speedy recovery. We are also, because it shouldn't be glossed over that this was a child who needs some help and has been in a program. And so, of course, we are all in support of making sure that that child continues to receive the help that he needs. So if you're a little bit more up to speed with what's going on, then go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.